Come children, it's time for story time. Yes, that's right. Another episode of NESmories. And I'm your host Miketendo. And today I'm going to read my very first video game review. Now, I've been a gamer since, Yeah, I'm 30. I was 5 when I got a Nintendo. So yeah, 25 years. Oh, that's scary. Still feels like the 90s. Well, actually more like the 2000s. But anyways, this is the very first review I wrote for my high school newspaper. And at the suggestion of a teacher who pretty much paved the path for me to, I'd always been good at English, and he decided, okay, well, maybe you should think about maybe doing something that you love and writing about something that you love. So I loved video games, so here's my review. Now the reason why this is part of NESmories is it's a memory of something that I had written for something old school gaming related. So I'm going to, I wrote a column, it says, "Tired of TV? Check out the hottest new video games this summer." And it was a one-issue thing. It was called Mike's Gaming Guru. News, reviews, and opinions for gamers. And so I even put like a little key for like what PlayStation meant. PS, I titled it PS, N64, a Game Boy Color, you know, that whole thing. So I put my top 10 playlist for May to June 1999. Oh, yeah, old school. So here's my top 10 playlist. Number 10, GoldenEye. Number 9, Siphon Filter. Number 8, Pokemon Red or Blue. Yeah, I was kind of into Pokemon a little bit back then. I've since grown out of it. Number 7, WWF Warzone. I loved WWF Warzone. Warzone and Attitude, I loved those games. So that was great. I remember I was really into WWF at that time, like during high school. I mean, you know, it's kind of faded after a while, but I was pretty big into it for a while, and so there you go. Number 6, Castlevania N64, also known as Castlevania 64. 5, Resident Evil 1 and 2. I don't know why I put 2 games for one spot, but hey, let's go with it. Chrono Trigger, number 4. Number 3, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Number 2, Super Smash Bros. And number 1 was Castlevania Symphony of the Night. See, even back then I was a huge Castlevania jerk. Yeah, sure. Okay, so I talked a little bit about the System Wars at the time, which I don't know why I called it the System Wars. It's the Console Wars. So here we go. Now I know that I may be a bit forward with this, but Sega's Dreamcast will be a disappointment for hardcore gamers. This is really funny because I haven't read this, like legitimately sat down and read through this, probably since I wrote it. So this is going to be a real treat. Unless you adore fighting games, this one is not worth it. However, a few titles seem to catch my eye. House of the Dead 2 continues Sega's great line of arcade to console ports. And Castlevania was very impressive, showing off its traditional side-scrolling graphics, and being 2.5D really made it hard for me to say such things about the Dreamcast. Now, I believe that at the time when it was announced, it was going to be a 2.5D game, but apparently it made the jump to 3D, and then, of course, never got released. So, I don't know. Unless I got my information from some ridiculously false source, I don't even remember. I read EGM back in the day, and Nintendo Power, and Game Fan, and all those magazines. So, I don't know. I have no idea. If Sega screws up this Castlevania the way they screwed up Dracula X Symphony of the Night on the Sega Saturn, then there will be no hope for all us old school gamers. 2 things to take away from this. 1, I totally screwed up and wrote that if Sega screws up Castlevania the way they screwed up Dracula X, they didn't screw up Dracula X, and for whatever reason I put Dracula X Symphony of the Night on the Sega Saturn. I guess I was talking about the Dracula X, the Saturn version, the Japanese version of the game that came out for, in America, Symphony of the Night. I guess, I don't know how I even thought that. Part of this was probably a very fanboy attitude because I was such a huge Nintendo fan and still am. Obviously, I've got my facts straight now. The other thing to take away from this is, even back then, I was very defensive about Castlevania, so I guess some things never change. Sony is hard at work on their PlayStation console, and from the looks of the RMV Real Movie video, it looks pretty good. Rumors have been flying that the system will be backward compatible with PlayStation 1 games. This will surely put Sony at #1 if they do so, and it kinda did. Nintendo is working on their next generation system as well. Announced at E3, the annual video game show, they signed a contract for a rumored $1 billion with IBM to make their next console, which will run off of CD via PlayStation style. Another rumor has been passed that one of the games that will be worked on will be a new Metroid. Can't wait for that one. This project is called Project Dolphin and will clearly blow Sega out of the water and will probably be an equal with Sony. As long as they make a new Metroid, I'll be happy. Yeah, I'm not as big on Metroid 2. Alright, so here's the game reviews. There's 3 games that I reviewed. The first is WWF Attitude. And this was for PlayStation and N64. Attitude is really livening up to be a great game to play on those hot summer days. With 40 immediately playable wrestlers, plus 10 hidden. Updated Create a Wrestler mode, 150 new moves, and career mode, the game bursts with nothing but its name, Attitude. PlayStation has a release date for June 16th, and Nintendo 64's release date is July 2nd. Rating, 5 controllers. So at this point, the game hadn't come out, and I reviewed it. What? Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. God, I can't believe I reviewed this game. Seeing as how I hate racing games, exceptions go out to Mario Kart and games like Twisted Metal 2, Carmageddon, and Vigilante 8. This actually surprised me. In my private exclusive first play at it, Toys R Us, I thought that the game could have had better graphics and more characters. After 5 minutes of play, I decided enough was enough. It was rushed by great demand in time for the movie, which told me that LucasArts really did not care about the quality of the game. The game's few ups? Looks like I had a while to go before I actually knew how to write. The game's few ups include originality and smooth play control. Rating, 3 controllers. Still pretty good for such a lousy review. Last review is Super Mario Bros. Deluxe for the Game Boy Color. Hey there, Game Boy Color owners! Thinking of a way to spend your summer vacation rotting in a hot, sweaty car next to your Aunt Edna other than singing "The wheels on the bus go round and round"? Well, look no further. It's easy. Just make a pit stop to your nearest video game dealer, buy Super Mario Bros. Deluxe for only $30 and some change, pop it in your Game Boy Color and let the fun begin. This game is an exact duplicate of the old school revolutionary game Super Mario Bros. Rating, 4 controllers. Oh boy. Well, it's very clear that, I was not as good of a writer as I thought I could have been, but most of the reviews that I wrote afterwards for various different magazines and websites and newspapers and all the different stuff that I've written for in the past has been a great improvement. And it's really fun to look back on this type of stuff and see where my game reviewing roots went from and went to. So thanks for joining me on this little trip down memory lane. And again, leave your comments below for what you thought, because I'm pretty disappointed in myself. If I had to go back and tell my younger self what to do, I probably would have said get a girlfriend. I don't know. Anyways, leave your comments below.